For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise. And you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in on your favorite podcast app. You know, I've said this many times on the show before. I lead a very boring life. Now, contrary to what my career is, which is entertainment reporting, celebrity interviews, covering red carpet, stuff like that, the personal life, right? The not on the air, the not the work, is a very boring life. Now, again, I've got the hottest husband in the world. He's a Brazilian fitness model. So you can imagine why I don't really want to share my life with the world, because it's just fun making him part of the world, right? Anyway, so my point in saying this is it's been one hell of a week for me. And so the guy who, if you were to ask me, let's say maybe last week, or if you, well, no, because we had the Queen's funeral, whatever, on any typical, like, normal week, there's very little happening in my world. Like, it's really, and I like it that way, because you remember last June, I retired from our syndicated radio show that had me just, working a crap ton of hours. And we're calling it radio retirement, even though I'm still on the radio. I'm just not hosting that one show. And it's really nice not waking up at 6:15 in the morning, commuting to work every day. We'll tape our entertainment headlines generally Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. But of course, the way news goes, you can't always do that. So if there's a story that breaks, I'll jump in and record something at home, bounce it over to the office or wherever, whoever's doing it, and make it sound like I'm awake at 9:30 in the morning on the radio, or 8:30 or 7:30 when I'm actually not. So this week, it actually, it's just been crazy. So I had a social life. I had a bit of Hollywood life. I had some parental life. I've got, the dogs. I don't have kids. I don't have two-legged children. I've got four-legged ones. And it's been a crazy week. And I'm going to tell you all about it. I'm going to walk you through the week. You don't want to miss this. Grab a mimosa. It's my Friday morning here. Grab a mimosa, because it all starts on the Scribble right after this.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secret to losing 3 to 5 pounds a week without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt RX. For the last 2 decades, we've helped countless people lose thousands of pounds. And now, it's your turn. Learn how to lose weight with one simple phone call and no prescription needed. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a risk-free money-back guarantee. So, if you're ready to start losing weight, call right now and get a free month supply with your first order of Body Sculpt RX. Call now. You have nothing to lose but the pounds. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. That's 800-459-6838.
JB here, back on, I was about to say the open road. Holy jeez, that's our country music show that ended a few years ago. That's not even the one I was just talking about a few moments ago. I had recorded a segment for this show last weekend, because in the moment I was having, I needed to spill my guts in the moment, and I thought that's the best time to just, give raw emotion and everything like that. So I'm gonna take you back to this past weekend, so 6-7 days ago, and tell you why I had this emotional kind of thing. And it doesn't even make sense to play the segment, because there's been a significant change since then. So that's why I'm redoing it now, telling you live this Friday morning. And again, I'm not usually up this early. That's how crazy this week has been, that I had to be up talking entertainment reporting about the whole Trevor Noah leaving the Daily Show thing. So that's how you can tell we are live and not pre-taped, everybody, because it was just Thursday night. just last night that he made that announcement. Today is Friday, September 30th. You know we're live. Okay, so last weekend I was in Hollywood, West Hollywood, Los Angeles area. If you're not familiar with the whole like LA County area, like, when you're in West Hollywood, you're literally down the street in one direction from Los Angeles, and where we tape our radio shows and where we have office space is in West Hollywood. You step out onto Santa Monica Boulevard and you hang a right, and you're basically in Beverly Hills. Within, you could walk there in, it's not even 15 minutes, I think. You go past, I'm trying to think, you go past there's a Subway restaurant, there's a bunch of shops, there's a car wash, there's a grocery store, a few more restaurants, and then, lots of homeless people. I'm just trying to I'm not making a joke. I'm just thinking when I'm walking down the sidewalk and going. Anyway, so you're right in line with Beverly Hills. And there was a woman last year, I don't know if you heard her name, Betty White, and she died on New Year's Eve day. And she had, like all good megastars, more than one house, more than one home. And the estate was selling off and auctioning off many of her personal belongings. Now, okay, Betty White, superstar, right? Well, I have a connection to Betty, and again, I've talked about that on this show, and I know that there's a lot of our radio listeners who tune into the podcast. You know that I was at her 90th birthday. I covered it for our syndicated radio shows. I was the only Canadian entertainment reporter there. And I got to meet her, ask her a question, and all of her other megastar friends, right? I mean, we're talking Carol Burnett, Mary Tyler Moore, Ed Asner, Valerie Harper, Gavin MacLeod, Vicki Lawrence. The cast of Hot in Cleveland was there. Joel McHale was there. Amy Poehler. Just a crap ton of people. And so it was really cool because I had wanted to interview Betty on the radio. I wanted to do a phone call, and I was constantly told no. And then NBC is doing this big television event for her, and it's like, oh, how would you like to come and cover it? And I was like, okay, wait a second. I can't talk to her on the phone for 4 minutes, but I can come to the party? Yes. And so I don't want to go and say like, oh, yeah, I was besties, but I just have a connection to her. It's a little bit different. When it's a birthday party like that, it's, sure, she had no idea who the hell I was. And it's not like if she saw me again, she would go, oh, hey, Jeremy. No, I'm not saying that. We weren't buddies at all. But when you go to an event like that, which was more intimate, it was a little bit more casual. Yes, the red carpet kind of was, formal, and there was the press conference after. But it was just really special. And especially being a lifelong Golden Girls fan, how could you not sort of take in that moment? Anyway, so there was an auction of her belongings. There was over 1,500 lots. Now, a lot is basically, it could be an item or a collection of items. So it could be, one lot could be an entire place set, plates, cups, saucers, whatever it might be. And there was going to be everything. Signed scripts from the Golden Girls. There was furniture. There was artwork. There was, glass figurines. She loved animals, so there was a ton of little, like, dog ornaments and things, animal ornaments. And I was kind of like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm not a cash carrier. Anybody who knows me, especially being a cheapskate, I use cards. But I just kind of thought, I'm going to do this Hollywood thing. I happened to be still in town because we were covering, the TV season, the finales, the new season starting, and Emmys and all this other crap. So I'm in town. Why not? So I go. I've got $3,000 in cash. I don't even think that I've ever held that much money in my hand ever. And so I was like, I'm going to go to this auction, go down the street, Beverly Hills, and it's a 3-day auction, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There was nothing really that I wanted on the Friday or Saturday, but I mean, I kind of put bids in anyway, just because, it's just, I'd rather leave there with something than nothing. Even if it's something that's just so stupid, like, again, a little dog thing that you would have no idea. Like, if you came to my house and saw this, unless I told you that this was in Betty White's house, you would just be like, oh, okay, you got that from a dollar store, or you got it from your grandma's house. Like, there's no telling what it was. And so, obviously, I didn't want those things, but again, I would take it just for the sake of getting something. Now, the director's chair that she had from the Golden Girls set sold for over, I think it was $76,000. The front door to her house, a yellow front door, sold for $10,000. Very quickly, I realized that I was outgunned there. Like, me thinking that I'm a high roller with $3,000? No. And being in Beverly Hills, I should have sort of been tipped off about, even just the name. There's nothing about the name Beverly Hills that says, hey, this is a cheap city. So I was kind of like, I don't think this is going to go well. Like, I don't know that I'm going to get anything, and I'm certainly not willing to pay. A coffee cup that had her name on it, 5 letters, Betty, 5 was selling for over $1,000. So yes, I had the money. I was ready to make it rain. But in that moment, and somebody had said to me, they'd asked me if I'd gone to an auction before, and I said, no, I hadn't. I've seen them on TV, right? Where on sitcoms where somebody accidentally raises their hand and bids. Oh, there was a scene on Golden Girls where they did it. And, so I was like, keep my hand down. I'm not going to, And so the guide said, sometimes it also just becomes a competition. Like, you just try to outbid just so that you can get it. And I was like, that could be bad for me. I did not. I'm going to tell you right now, I was not tempted to spend $1,200 on a coffee mug. Not going to happen. I'll go and buy one. I'll go and buy a little coffee mug, a white coffee mug. I'll get the letters to be printed on it or whatever. I'll order it from Vistaprint for like $20. And I'll get it that says Betty. I'll show them a picture. Find me this font. Make me the mug. And if somebody comes to my house, we don't entertain at our house, but if somebody comes, I'll say, look, this was Betty White's. Done. They're not going to know. And I can tell them I spent $1,000 and they'll say, you're an idiot. And I'll say, well, you know what? I've got a shit ton of money, so shut your mouth. But no, I wasn't tempted to spend that much. So I did put bids on, some furniture, like, table, some pillows. And then there were lots of outfits. So outfits that she had worn to the Emmys, to different, on the cover of different magazines. There was an Oprah bathrobe, so when she had done, I guess, a show with one of Oprah's shows, she was gifted, or she stole, a bathrobe. I'm a bathrobe person, so I was kind of like, that would be something cool. So I was bidding about $600-700 at the highest, just because I didn't go over $1,000 for anything. Again, even though I had that, I just couldn't bring myself to it. And so, but again, when you've got a bathrobe going for $800, $900, and remember, I've got Canadian currency, so it's also going to be different for me. It's going to be even more than that. I couldn't. And then if I got furniture, I'm just like, how the hell am I getting this back to Canada too, right? So there was that. And then just she had, I don't know. So I'm outbid on basically everything, and it was late Sunday afternoon. I had 1 or 2 more bids in, and I was just kind of like, you know what? I pre-did it like on the app or on the website or whatever, and I was like, oh, whatever. If I get it, then I don't know if they'll email me or whatever, but I was just kind of like, I'm done with this. So I go back, I record this rant, which had a significantly different tone than the way I'm telling it now, and just basically going and saying, like, yeah, I was there, I didn't get anything, I was, bidding and just outbid all the time and whatever. And then, about an hour after I do that, and I send that to a bunch of family members and colleagues, because some people knew that I was out of town, but I didn't tell them exactly where I was going that weekend. Because when I go and say that, I sent them a cryptic message going, like, I can't tell you where I'm going this weekend, but it's either going to be really, really cool or really, really depressing. Meaning, I would have won something and I'd be happy, or I lost or I didn't get anything and I'd be depressed. So everybody's like just chomping at the bit, wondering where I am. So Sunday night, I'm getting all these messages. So I send them the link to the audio, and then I get this email saying the winner accidentally bid, apparently. So if you want it. And I was just like, what is it though? Like, it didn't say the item name. I was just like, what is it? So I can't say yes or no. So I go and I look it up. I look up the number, and it was one of the, not a plaque. It was a certificate, I guess, a framed certificate on the wall from her 90th birthday from the mayor of Los Angeles. And, like when you get those milestone birthdays, you can get a letter from, the president or, whatever it is. And so she got one from the, and this is going to be totally different than the one that your grandma gets in the mail. Like, this is like a 3-foot by 2-foot, framed kind of thing. The one your grandma's getting is like a little portfolio thing probably, right? Just a printout. This is significant. And of all things for me to actually end up getting, I was just kind of like, okay, you know what? I feel good about this because I have a connection to the 90th birthday because I was there. So there were other ones where, she had a certificate from like the LA Zoo and whatever, which again would have been cool. But for this, this is not something that anybody else is going to have. That it's her, or, because it's got her name on it. It's signed by the mayor and there's the seal on there. And I was like, wow, that's really cool to get that. And because I've got a connection to the 90th birthday, I was flying that night. I was just so excited. I was just really cool. So now in true JB style, here's the thing. They go and say, would you like to have it for your bid amount, your high bid amount? And I said, I'll take it for $100 less. So not what I originally, and I was really nervous too, because it says all over this website, like, these are binding, you've got, if you bid it, you're responsible, you pay for it, blah, blah. So if somebody can just accidentally bid and go and change their mind, I was like, oh, there's less stress now that I know there's this loophole that you can just get out of it by saying something. So I was like, ooh, this could go either way. If I go and say I'll take it for $100 less, I mean, if they reply back and say no, then I'll say, fine, I'll take it for what my bid was. And again, just to be clear, it was less than $1,000. My high bid was less than $1,000. So I just want to make that clear. I did not go over. My bid was not. And so sure enough, a few minutes later, I get the reply back saying, yes, you can have it for $100 less. Here's the amount. Do you want it? And I said, and then I was told, you have to let us know right now. I said, let's do it. And yeah, so there we go. And then it took them a while to get back to me again. So I was like, oh crap, something happened. I didn't get it. And that's just the way my brain works. And then, yeah, I was victorious. So Sunday night, after sending this link to everybody to listen to about my depression, then all of a sudden I've got, wait, there's an update. Hold on. And it was a very good thing. So you couldn't take the things, from the auction hall right then. So it's going to be sent. And that was another thing. Then the shipping is going to be like $200 and something. And I thought, you know what though, this company like does this for a living, so they're going to package it up really nicely. I'm not going to schlep this like 40-pound thing on a plane and have it get smashed. It's not going to fit in the upper, the bins. So if they can just ship it to me, great. And so that'll be something really cool for my office, because I've got pictures. In our studio, we've got pictures from the 90th birthday, and now we can go and put that on the studio wall or in my office, maybe with some of the pictures from the event around it. So that's pretty cool. So, and most of you probably didn't even realize there was the auction last weekend, right? We got the press release, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in town. It's right down the street. Let's do this. So there you go. So I spent a shit ton of money last weekend. So that was my weekend. Now I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to talk about the dealings that I had with some businesses, because you know what, customer service ain't what it used to be. That's next on the Scribble.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer. Save the money, save the hassles, and get the better blue pill. Dial 800-578-0179. That's 800-578-0179. 800-578-0179.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt, your shoulder hurts, and your back. Oh my God, your back. They're constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore. Am I right? Well, here is something you haven't tried. Pain Absolve. Pain Absolve is not available in any drugstore. The only way to get it is by calling today. We're so confident that it will work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase, no prescription needed, and best of all, each purchase comes with a money-back guarantee. Call now to find out how you can get Pain Absolve and get rid of your pain. Call 800-319-0582. That's 800-319-0582. 800-319-0582. Call today, 800-319-0582.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. We're in a time right now where customer service people aren't going to take your shit anymore. Like when I worked in retail many years ago, it was kind of like, there was that saying, the customer's always right. Well, now the customer's an asshole. Let's be clear on that. And you would just never think to get into an argument with somebody. I mean, that was because, and I don't know, I'm trying to think, when I was a manager at Party City, when I was like 21, so we're almost going 20 years ago, there was maybe a few times that somebody had asked to speak to the manager, because we were the staff was always empowered to kind of, use your best judgment and make them happy if it's within, the employees might have asked me questions and things like that, but I don't recall. I don't remember anybody even having like a screaming match at employees. It just wasn't like that. You'd have people that were upset and maybe grumble something, under their breath, but and you've seen the videos now of, people throwing coffee or, whatever, and whipping out the cell phone and recording it and confronting. And I wouldn't want to work in the service industry now. That's all I'm saying. And so I had a few instances this week that kind of make me go and say, was I being a Karen or was I being justified? Now, I had ordered groceries, as I often do, with Instacart. And I mean, I've had every incident known to man, right? I've had somebody else's order delivered. I've had mine delivered 1 or 2 blocks over. I've had them bring the wrong items. I've had them, cancel an order even though, like, it was, it was placed however many hours earlier. I've had them late. I've had them, the shopper basically go and say that like 7 of the items weren't there, and then end up calling the store, and they're like, yeah, we've got almost all of those. So, you know what it's like then to have to reach out. And I've always said, when I worked in customer service, like, I was willing to help people if they were going to be nice to me. Like, if you're going to come out swinging, name call, insult, whatever, I'm not going to go out of my way to help you, right? But if you're polite, if we have that rapport, if there's just sort of that nice tone, then I'll see what I can do, and I'll genuinely do it, because, but if you're coming at me, I wasn't necessarily as vocal and aggressive as we see employees are now. But again, employees are also defending themselves when, their character is being assassinated or whatever it might be. So with this past Instacart order, I had ordered, yes, I've got the big muscle husband, but sometimes I'll order the big bag of dog food and have it delivered. Rather than me carrying 40 pounds or driving there or whatever, it's like, somebody can just bring it to me. Like, why not, right? So I don't really pay attention to my phone, but you'll see the light blinking and it's like, oh, there's a notification. I know that it's on the way or whatever. So we had a nice day. The windows were open. And I knew that the guy was coming up because my dogs were in the front door, and then kind of, a little bit growling because they see somebody coming up. I'm like, okay, well, it's here. And then all of a sudden I hear kind of like a braking noise, and I was like, what the hell would that be? Well, I go outside as the guy is walking away. He's just getting off my sidewalk and going onto the boulevard. And I see that there was a dog figure, like a lawn ornament kind of a thing that I had on the top step, which has been there since my grandma died because it was from her house. It was from her yard, her back step. I had it on my front step in the exact same place. And this thing was on the ground, smashed. So I was like, okay, whoa. So the guy's walking away, and I waved, and he just kind of put his hand up like he was waving goodbye. And I'm like, no, come back here. He doesn't. I mean, I was in my bathrobe, I think. I wasn't going to run out the door chasing him, but I was just kind of like, whoa. So I run into the kitchen, and I get my cell phone, and I go and I take 2 pictures of this thing on the ground. And in the chat thing on the app, I go and I message these pictures, and I said, excuse me, you just damaged my property. You just broke my ornament. You need to come back. He didn't reply. There was nothing said. And then the chat ended. So he ended it, or whatever, whatever they do on their end, he ended the chat. So I'm furious, right? I get on with Instacart support, and I'm going to put support in quotation marks in this instance because it was kind of like, I need this fixed. And the thing is that the longer that you wait, like if they don't contact this guy, today, I mean, I would know that I broke something. So for me, I'm kind of like, all right, I would remember that a few days later. But it's like, no, this happened right now. Like, reach out to the guy now. Call him now. Talk to him now. He's either going to come back and pay me out of pocket for this, or you guys are going to pay for it and then ding him, whatever. So the app support took well over an hour and a half, 2 hours. We did not get anywhere. The person is asking me that my order was damaged, and I was just like, no, I'm sending you the pictures. I'm sending you the screenshot. I'm sending you all this stuff. Look back at every one of my orders. You're going to see this dog is on the same spot on the stairs. Everybody else has managed to put the stuff on the stairs just fine. where is it for this order? And now here it is. So the onus was on me to prove that he did it. And I said, and they're asking for video. Is there video of it? Is there video of it? No. There's pictures of me sending it to the guy in the moment saying, excuse me, I just broke this. If he did not, he should have replied and said, I didn't do that. No, that's not me. Sorry. Instead, he didn't write anything. So for me, it's kind of like, well, wait a second. I've got pictures of this. I realize that's not definitive proof. I get that. But it's like, where is he? What have you asked him? Has anybody said anything to him? Does he deny it? Does he admit to it? Where is he? Like, have you talked to him? Have you asked him? They didn't do anything. Now we're going on an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. I said, here's the deal. You're refunding this order. You're reimbursing me because it's not even, I mean, we're talking like a $35 ornament. But that's not, it's not about the money. Like I said earlier, I got a shit ton of money. I don't need his $35. But it's the principle behind it. You damage the property and you leave, that's now vandalism. If it's accidental, then you come back, knock on the door and say, I'm really sorry I broke this. To me, I mean, vandalism, I guess you could also say, well, if it's deliberate, then it's vandalism, whatever. Bottom line is you damaged something knowingly. There's no way that he could have not known that. Because like I said, I heard the smash or whatever. Like, you've knocked this down the stairs. And I heard it from inside the house. So you know it and you left. That's deliberate that's almost like a hit and run, right? Like, you know that you did it. Now, I'm not getting all legal here. I don't know that, but I'm just saying, I'm considering that bottom line, you damaged something. So the chat help goes nowhere. Like many people, then I go to Twitter and I'm just like, Instacart, look at this. The guy broke the thing, so then it's like, well, DM us, and then this where the fight continues on there. And I'm just like, I'm battling it with the chat, the app support, and then on Twitter, and I'm sitting there going, who's going to resolve this quicker? Is anybody going to resolve this? So can you tell us what part of your order was damaged? It wasn't the fucking order. It was like, and so then I'm texting some family members because they know this ornament was for my grandma's. I'm just like, they're still, and I said, I'm not even shitting you. Like, I'm not even making this up. They think that I'm saying that the order was down. Like, how do I, after an hour and a half, we're still going in circles about which item was damaged. So just to confirm, sir, none of your items were damaged in the order? And I was like, wow. Now, I hate to be that person who says, can I deal with somebody who knows English? But I mean, you can't help but draw that conclusion at that point. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's not, don't even call me racist. Don't even say that I'm bashing. I'm going to use the term foreigners. Like, that's not what I'm not going on a rant about that. If you're not understanding English, when I clearly say in a very long paragraph what happened and send you pictures of my ornament, like, then there's just something wrong. Like, don't be doing the English chat support then. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't know the person, what country they're from or whatever. Like, I'm not even drawing. So then I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to go corporate office then. If nobody at the customer level, the front service level can help me. So because I was going to be talking about it on the radio, I went to media relations and I said, look, I need you guys to comment on this. And, we've got to figure this out. Like, I need a statement from Instacart. Like, who pays for this? What's the deal? And then eventually I get a contact from their claims department, and the claims department says, do you have video of it? I said, I have sent screenshots and original photos to I don't know how many people already. And now you're asking me for more. Like, I've given you everything I have. If there's no video, fine. But again, have you asked this guy? Have you confirmed with him? Have you checked with him? Has he said anything? Has he denied it? If you haven't asked him, then the onus is not on me to prove anything because you haven't got the other side of his story. If he goes and says, yeah, I broke it, then fine. But my evidence is I've sent him these pictures. He didn't deny it. There you go. That's all I've got for you. And so we're going back and forth. And eventually, this is also where I'm threatening, going, what's happening with this? Like, I need to, we pay out within 45 days, whatever. That's fine. I need a decision now, because if not, I'm going to escalate this. And again, it's not about the $35 that this thing probably cost. It's do the right thing. Do the right thing. Yes, he might be a contractor, but the bottom line is, one of you, either the driver or whoever you call them, or the company has got to be insured for something like this. Who is paying? If you're not going to do it, then you need to give me his full contact information so I can sue him then. Again, $35. I get it. but it's the principle. So they're going back and forth. Eventually, they approve my claim. Then I get this big document to sign, and it's got a confidentiality agreement. It's got a confidentiality agreement. Now, all the while this has played out, I have asked for a media statement. I very publicly have talked about the story on the radio, and Instacart knows this. They know this. So when you go and send me a hush document saying, we'll pay you, but here's the deal. You've got to sign confidentiality, and you can't disparage the company. You can't say anything bad about us. You can't do anything like that. That's the wrong thing to say to a reporter. Let me just tell you. For $35, you're wanting to buy my silence? Not happening. Not happening. So again, their little copy and paste templates that they were back and say, well, we do need to have you sign this document, whatever. I said, take out clauses 4 and 5, confidentiality and the non-disparaging clause, and then I will sign it. But I am not. I said, I have told you from the beginning, I've been looped in how many different departments saying I need a media statement to comment. You're not going to all of a sudden just go and say, but you can't say anything about it. So we'll resolve this as long as you don't say anything, okay? That's all we're going to do now, okay? So that's the only way we can help you. Then they go silent for about 2 days. And I was like, okay, it is on. Here we go. I've got the CEO's email address. I've got the COO's email address. I've got investor relations, and I'm going to go to your investors. And again, maybe that's being a Karen, but again, communicate with me. You guys are the ones who did something wrong here. And you're going to ghost me? The company is going to ghost me? You're not going to ghost me. You're not going to ghost me. You're not. You're not. You're not. You're not. So eventually, just late yesterday, Thursday, they've removed the 2 sections of the agreement. I actually haven't even opened the document, but I read the email saying we've removed them. I haven't opened the document, so I'll take their word for it, though. But I mean, that's what it's coming. So back to this whole customer service thing. It's not me freaking out going, I want to talk to a manager. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Yes, it was escalated to claims, and then they ghost me for 2 days when I go and say, I'm not signing this. You're not hushing me on this. Sorry, you're not. You're not doing that. And if I need to rattle the cage and go up and up and up and up and up and up and up, I'll do that. I'll do it. And if I've got to get our lawyer involved, yes, it's going to cost me more to have our lawyer involved and do it. I reached out to the consumer protection branch from my province in Canada, and it was just like, I forwarded to them going, by the way, here's what's happening. They're not going to compensate for damage unless I sign a confidentiality and hush agreement. So just want you to be clear on that, government. Look at what this company is doing and how they're operating in our province. So, I had to up the stakes. But again, think about the time, the emotional investment, the time, all this other crap. Now, I know you might be sitting there going, seriously, JB, $35 for a fucking thing. Again, you're not going to get away with that. You're not going to get away with damaging property and then just going, oops, oh, do you have video? Oh, well, then it didn't happen. Yeah, that's not going to fly with me. Have you had an issue with Instacart or any of those delivery apps? Send me an email. live@jbonair.com. We're almost, we got to go. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Who are the Kardashians feuding with now? What did that little thug Justin Bieber do this time? Who's getting hitched? And who's headed for Splitsville? Hear the latest celebrity news and gossip every day on Entertainment Wrap-Up. The good, the bad, the ugly, but mostly the ridiculously hilarious. It's all recapped in this daily segment at entertainmentwrapup.com. Have a laugh at the expense of the rich and famous when they take themselves way too seriously. It's 3 minutes of time-wasting fun at entertainmentwrapup.com. Check out Entertainment Wrap-Up at entertainmentwrapup.com. Brought to you by Speak Free Books.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
JB here, back on the Scribble. I'm not done talking about customer service, ladies and gentlemen, because like I said at the top of the show, it has been one of those weeks. Now, the Instacart debacle hopefully will be resolved in my favor. And again, $35, I get it, okay? Now, the other situation was dealing with my doorknob. Now, in the past, a little over a year, because it was last July, so let's say it's a year, okay? my doorknob at the back door broke. So inside the house, you turn the doorknob, turn, nothing actually opens. So essentially you're trapped. Your doorknob is broken and you can't get out of your house. Obviously, our insurance company is like, that's a problem. You need to have a front door and a back door, right? Because if there's, fire at the front, then you get out the back. If there's something at the back, you go out the front. And I reached out to the company that had, I had a warranty with our new door. So I'd reached out to them and was like, the doorknob broke. They came, replaced it, whatever, not a big deal. So now, a little over a year later, I was like, okay, wait a second. Look, this is broken again. It's the same kind of lock. It's the same thing that happened. How is it that you, a doorknob isn't something that I'm fudging around with. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of in the door. So unless you've kicked it or whatever, but this is just I don't even know how to I would unscrew it, but I don't know anything about a doorknob. I'm like, it's the same thing. So somebody come fix it. Well, they go and say, my local company goes and says, it's out of warranty now after a year. You'd have to talk to the manufacturer. So I reach out to the manufacturer and I say, look, this is the second time. I forwarded the email exchange, by the way, so they saw what happened last year, and they saw my email saying that it's happened again. This is very concerning. This is a door. This is a product that right now, if it fails on me, if it malfunctions, if it breaks, whatever, I'm trapped in my house in an emergency. That's a problem. So, I mean, this is a little bit more serious than a broken lawn ornament, right? I mean, this is kind of... is this a coincidence? Is this faulty? Were these from the same production line and now are all of them bad? You guys need to look into this. And I imagine that the doorknob from a year ago is probably long gone. I get that. But it's something needs to be done. You guys need to look into this. This is a problem. And if you do nothing about it and then somebody is trapped in their house when it's burning down or something, you're going to feel really shitty. And you might even get sued. You get sued like Instacart. No, it really bothered me because, you're putting my family in danger, right? That this is serious. Let's be honest. And so I reach out to the company. I say, look, we've got to get this fixed. So 2 or 3 days goes by. There's no response. Now, again, it's not me just being impatient. This is every day that goes by. Again, it's a safety hazard. And our insurance company is going to like that. And I don't want to feel unsafe in my house either. So the doorknob would remain locked from the outside. So you would have to go from the front door. You'd go around the house, unlock it or whatever. And then eventually we ended up taping it so that the little latch thing is just always in. So we'd lock the deadbolt, but the doorknob itself was inoperable. So eventually the company gets back to me and I said, okay, look, we need to have this fixed. So whether that's you sending me one or you'll pay for the one that's in my city from the installer and they'll just come and do it, I need a new doorknob now. However we want to square up or however, if you guys pay for it, you pay them, you ship it to me, whatever, I'm not paying anything, but I need a new doorknob. And so they were very accommodating. I will give them that. And they said, yeah, no, this is concerning. And because I had the email exchange from the installer, so showing, right? There's more credibility now when the professionals are going and saying, oh yeah, that's a problem. You need to reach out to them. Okay. So you've got that backstory. I forwarded that to the manufacturer, the entire thing. They get the full picture. So the woman calls me up and she says, I want to send you one. And I said, if they have one here at home, can they just, you order it from them or you just pay them? Oh yeah, no, I'll call them and I'll square up with them. Okay, great, fine, great. And so they didn't have any. She's like, that's fine. I'll send you one overnight, whatever. And then if you want to install it or whatever, and I said, will you pay to install it though? Because again, this isn't anything that I did. Why am I going to be on the hook to spend $120 to have somebody install it now or $70 or whatever it is? Even $5 I'm not paying. And so she's like, oh no, we'll take care of that too. And so we got a brand new doorknob as well. And so I was just like, wow. So two kind of I'm not going to say, I'll say that they were major customer service issues. Okay. I'm not going to say they were major crises and drama because again, in the grand scheme of things, I realized that this week people have lost their homes, their lives, whatever, in hurricanes, whatever. So I'm not being petty. I don't want to make it seem like this, woe is me, I've had a shitty week. That's not what I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying remember I said at the top, customer service ain't what it used to be. That's what I'm saying. I'm not complaining about I've had a stressful week and No. I'm talking the customer service. I want to reiterate because, again, yes, this shit is all trivial considering what's happening in Florida and even in Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, and in Canada. I get it. And Ukraine, right? That's always been my thing. Whenever I've heard somebody bitching and complaining about their life, this is how I've actually kind of given them that smackdown. I've said, I want you to think about telling your story about your crummy day at work or whatever. I want you to tell that to a Ukrainian refugee. I want you to tell that to a Ukrainian refugee. And would you feel stupid? Would you feel stupid bitching about that? So, and most of the time the people will go and say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, in the grand scheme of things. So I get it. I get that this is all little patty kind of stuff. I'm talking about customer service. That was the whole point of it. Now we're going to continue on. We're going to do an hour-long Scribble today. I'm making that decision right now. So let's move along. My aunt Pat, every year on her birthday, I will do a surprise radio segment. So I'll call her to wish her happy birthday. And oftentimes I will get, I think we played that earlier in the year. We did a montage of the different birthday clips. So I will call her. Sometimes I'll have a bunch of family members on the phone as well, and we'll play a game. And the answers are always ridiculous so that she'll always get them wrong just for comedic value. And this year I had said to her, when I called her, she answered the phone and I said, "Hi, palliative care, please." And she said, "You have the wrong number," and she hung up on me. But I'd called her from Los Angeles. So the phone number didn't come up Jeremy, right? She wouldn't have had this phone number. And so, but she answered, to her credit, but she hung up on me. And I was like, okay, wait a second, whoa. And eventually then I got her on the phone. We did a quick segment. And I said, tell everybody what I normally do for your birthday. And so she says, you crash my birthday every year. So whenever she's at a restaurant with her kid, like my cousins or whoever, I always eventually show up. And that's something that I've done for years now. Sometimes I'll show up with flowers. There was once they were at the barbecue restaurant. I showed up dressed as a cowboy. And then last year I had a very glittery gold sequin jacket and a top hat and a pink boa. And they were outside at a big kind of a common area having food. And all of a sudden, I texted my younger cousin, and I said, "Okay, come and meet me wherever I was." And I said, "I need you to record it." And so I'm going to do this ambush. I'm going to run out. I always jokingly call her Patrice. So I'm going to come running out, going, "Patrice, happy birthday, happy birthday!" And then I'm going to embarrass her. I'm going to call attention to this whole thing. So I did that. And it hasn't always been video recorded. So we've upped the game. We've upped the production value of it starting last year. And so I said to her, "I'm in Los Angeles, so I can't do it. But what are you doing for your birthday?" And she wouldn't tell me. So, knowing that she's got, 3 kids, a grandson, whatever, they'll tell me, no problem. And so they were like, "Oh yeah, it's this restaurant at, I don't know the time of the reservation, but I think it's like 6 or 6:30. I said, "That's fine. I'll call the restaurant. I'll make it happen." So she's thinking I'm in Los Angeles. She's thinking that she's having a meal with her sister-in-law, a couple other people. And because I'd called the restaurant earlier in the day, I said, "Hey, look, there's a reservation for Pat's birthday. I need you to make sure there's an extra chair at the table. I'm her nephew. I'm going to come in and surprise her, but I'm not having dinner. So don't wait to take the order. Carry on, and just make sure there's an extra chair. Don't say anything." I mean, that's not uncommon, right? If you might have an extra chair or two at your table. That happens. But just make sure they're seated at a table where there's an extra chair. They said fine. So I get there. I say to the staff, "Hey, it's me. I'm going to put on the glitter hat, the sequin jacket, the boa, whatever. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Here's the video from last year. This is what I'm doing. This is cool to do in your dining room." They're like, "Yeah." Manager comes over. He's like, "I love it. You look great. This is funny. Let's do it." So they show me kind of to where the table. They show me a map of the restaurant, and then I was like, "Okay, so I've got to go straight across, and then all the way to the right. They're the very last corner in the back. Okay, good, got it." So I hand my phone to one of the staffers. I'm like, "Just follow behind me. I'm going to pick up speed as we get closer to the table. I'm going to start shouting, 'Patrice,' and then go." So sure enough, I go do this. My Auntie Pat is like, "I thought you were in Los Angeles." Like, oh my God, I knew it. I knew this was going to happen. And everybody in the restaurant is clapping. I'm like, it's her 85th birthday. She's not 85. It's her 85th birthday, everybody. And so I was just planning to stay for one glass of wine. This restaurant was like clear across the city. And I had a very busy Thursday planned. We had we're having our dog neutered. We were getting this new lock installed. I had to be up very early, so I was kind of like, I'll come for a glass of wine. I'm gonna leave. I'm not gonna stay, for dinner. Well, the problem was that at the dinner there were a bunch of her in-laws, so like my uncle's side of the family, bunch of in-laws that I haven't seen in years because of, the corona shutdowns and things like that. So I was just like, oh, they're all here. I'm having a glass of wine. We're chatting. We're getting caught up. I'm hearing about their kids or so-and-so's grandkid or whatever it is. So I stay for dinner as well. And I was just like, oh my God. And then 2 glasses of wine later, and then 3 glasses of wine later. And I was like, oh my God. And then I got a notification on Wednesday that Coolio died. And I was like, oh crap, I'm an entertainment reporter. I'm like half in the bag. Thankfully, it was already kind of like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. None of the radio stations are going to, jump in with that kind of news. I can do it in the morning. Okay, great, fine. And so it was just a really fun day. So I highly recommend doing a surprise if if they're cool with it. Like, because why not? Like, we should be having fun. Let's live in the moment. It's, she's not really embarrassed, but she gets a laugh at it. She was talking about it the whole night too. So it's something that, and then she texted me the next morning going, oh, thanks. That was so, cool, blah, blah. So I just, do things like that for people. It was for me to do it. And let me be honest, for me to do it, it was very, very inconvenient where the restaurant was, the timing of it, considering all the stuff that was happening the next day. But you know what? You just kind of do things, right? Because it's going to bring a smile to their face. It's going to, so I beg people to just do things like that. Like I said in the last segment, there's so much shit and garbage going on in the world. You know what? Change somebody's day. Just do something because really it's just so wonderful to bring a positive energy to things. It really is. So I that's why when they were giving me the wrap up and they're like, we're so out of time, I'm like, I'm not going to leave on this positive note or this negative note where you all think I'm a Karen. That's not how I'm ending the show. So I'm going to tell you that story about my aunt's birthday, and that's how we'll end it. So that's it. And by the way, just so we're clear, so Thursday, I know they're already wrapping me up already. On Thursday, I was up at about 6:30, about 7 in the morning because we had to take the dog to the vet for 8:30, right? When it's a neuter, he's got to be there first thing in the morning. And as I've already said, like, we normally wake up at about 10 or 10:30 in the morning. My husband, he'll go to the gym. I'll have a bath for an hour and a half. We ease into the day. We're not running around working first thing in the morning. And so for me to get up that early after at least 3 glasses of wine that I can remember the night before, I was like, ooh, it's going to be... I wasn't hungover or anything, but it's just, you're tired, And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go. I'll drop the dog off there. But then I go and do that, and I'm like, I'm wide awake now, and it's 9 in the morning. Well, shit, what am I going to do now? I was like, I've got time to kill. I was going to go, there was a Subway restaurant. I was like, okay, I'll go there. It wasn't even 9, they weren't even open. That Subway opens at 9 in the morning. I thought they were open for breakfast. Doesn't Subway have a breakfast menu? Apparently, that one opens at 9. I looked at the time, it was about 8:50. I was like, I could hang out here, like in the parking lot or something, but screw it, I don't want Subway that badly. And so I ended up just going home. And we were having the doorknob or the lock installed at 11. So I was kind of like, then I'm sitting at home going, it's only 10 o'clock. Oh, crap. I got to wait another hour. This guy's coming at 11. And sure enough, he showed up at 11 o'clock on the dot. Perfect. And I was just like, well, now what for the rest of the day? Like, and when I'm telling people this story, they're like, oh, wow. So by noon, you feel like you've had a full day. Really, princess? Really? And I was like, but if that's not something that you're used to. So on yesterday, I had 3 full meals. Normally in a day, I might have a lunch at about 2 or 3. We might go, like after my husband works out, I have the bath. So we might do lunch at like 1:30 or 2 o'clock. And then depending on what it is, I might be good for the rest of the day. I might have some nibbly kinds of things, bit of cheese or something or crackers or whatever at night. But I very rarely have 2 actual full meals a day. So I had one when I got home from dropping him off at the vet. Oh, sorry, I got some groceries on the way home. So I bought some chicken breasts and there was a veggie platter that was marked down because the date was getting close. So I ended up getting, 50% off. So I had that. So I had kind of a breakfast at about 10:30. And then at about 1:30 or 2 o'clock, my stomach was grumbling. I'm like, holy crap. And then when you think about it, normally you would have breakfast at 7 or 8 in the morning. Lunchtime is often noon for a lot of people. And so my body's kind of like, hey, you know what? Feed me again. So I had a lunch. And then in the evening, and I didn't have a nap. I was quite surprised. At about 6:30 or so, my stomach is grumbling. And I thought, wow, I've been feeding myself so much today. But my body's like, okay, let's do this. Let's have some more. I know it's not a big deal, but I had 3 full meals, by the way, on Thursday, everybody. 3 full meals. And I woke up at a decent hour this morning to do this show with you. So there you go. Because I had to come on to I had to go on the radio this morning and talk about Trevor Noah leaving the Daily Show. So that's the problem when you're an entertainment reporter, though. That's the issue. Coolio died. I should have been on, but no. So anyway, feel free to give me a shout anytime. It's always awesome hearing from you. Live at jbonair.com is the email address. Live at jbonair.com. We're not going to go now. Are we going to we'll wrap? Yeah. My name is Jeremy Bradley. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye for now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com. Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat.